Hello everyone, welcome to Straight Up Finance. So in this new series, we are trying to dive deep into the advanced Excel for working professionals or finance professionals or in any industry. So we'll not start with the basic Excel, or I'm not going to tell you how the Excel ribbon looks like or how to customize the quick access toolbar or the shortcuts. So these things can be done side by side while we'll be walking through these videos. So we'll focus on the concepts which are used a lot, the formulas which are used a lot in the industry, and while learning those advanced Excel formulas, we'll also side by side try to learn the basics of Excel. So for this advanced Excel module, we'll starting this first video with the lookup functions. So we'll learn 3 lookup functions today: XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP. So basically, if you'll ask me that what lookup functions are, so in finance or in analytics, you are constantly dealing with very large data sets. For example, you may be dealing with lists of customers, sales data, or financial statements. More often, you will be dealing with. So, what a lookup function does, you can understand it like a search engine. So, lookups in Excel are basically all about finding the right information very quickly without scrolling through the sheets manually. To explain you, I'll give you an example. Imagine you have a list of 100 of products, and you want to find the price of any particular one product. So you have a lot of options. You can manually see for that name of the product or the key and then see the price. You can add a filter to it, or the best way I would say is you can use a lookup function. So using that lookup function, you'll get that price within seconds, right? So we have 3 kinds of lookup functions which we'll see in this video only. So you have VLOOKUP, you have HLOOKUP, which I would say it's not used a lot, and then you have XLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP is something which will serve the purpose for all the kinds of lookup tasks you have. Alright, so just a quick comparison between all of them. So what VLOOKUP is, VLOOKUP looks up values vertically. So let's say if this is my data array, so what VLOOKUP is going to do, it will look up values starting from the top, correct? So it will look up values vertically, and it look up values from the columns, left from the column. So if this is my data array, so if I consider this as my table array, so what VLOOKUP will do, VLOOKUP will consider this as my first column, this as my second, this as my third, and so on, and we'll try to look up the values, find the values. So we'll understand it once we start doing it. So I'll just tell you. So I'll just select it. If you want to select any particular cell, you can press shift, and you can use your arrow keys to do that. So I'll just press Ctrl Shift downward arrow to select all of this, and I'll just paste it here. And let's say if we want to get your quantity and unit price against these people, so I'll just go and copy these 2 headers from here. Yes, so now I want the quantity and price for all of these people. So what VLOOKUP does actually is it will look up value adjacent to my lookup value. So what my lookup value is, if you see, if I so you have to just write is equals to VLOOKUP, and you can press a tab here, so you'll have your open bracket and the formula is ready to be written. So now what your lookup value is basically the reference which you are trying to give to the VLOOKUP. For example, if this is my table array, so I want to pick the unit price, so I'm trying to give the reference that I want the price of Rohan, I want the price of Arjun or Priya or Sneha. So what VLOOKUP will do is VLOOKUP will pick the values adjacent to Rohan depending upon the column number I will give, because VLOOKUP works from the columns. So if I just write a VLOOKUP here, So this is going to be my lookup value. This is what is my reference value, which will help me to find my data, and I will fix it. If I press F4 once, it will fix my whole cell. If I press it again, it will fix my row, and if I press a third time, it will fix my column F. So now what's going to happen is, if I copy this formula right or left, my lookup value will always be picked from column F only, since I have fixed my column. Then we can select the table array. If your lookup array is in this column, you'll have to start your table array from here only, because as we discussed earlier, that VLOOKUP picks values from the left only. So we'll keep it like this, what I just did. Shift Control, downward arrow, rightward arrow, it's done. Then we'll have to fix this array, because I want that when I copy this formula downwards, my table array should not move, right? Otherwise, if it will move downwards with my formulas, I'll be leaving out some of my values from the upward direction. I hope it's clear. Now if I see my quantities in the second column, I told you, right, this is my first column, this is my second column. If I'm starting my array from here, so this is how VLOOKUP will read it. So just we have to give VLOOKUP. This is my table array, I'm really sorry. This is my lookup value. This is going to be my table array, and my quantity is in the second column, so I'll just write a 2 here. Also in the lookups, you'll have to give at the end a 0 or 1. So 0 is for exact matches, and your 1 is for approximate matches. This problem is covered by the XLOOKUP function, so you don't need to put a 0 or 1 in the XLOOKUP function, but here you'll have to provide it. So this is done, and we can just copy and paste it here. And since we made the formula, so now you remember that I fixed the column for my lookup value, so I can just directly copy paste it here. And we'll just have to change this, because now my unit price is in third column index number, not the second one. So just we will do a 3 there, and it will works. It works. So this is your VLOOKUP function. Similarly, we can also apply HLOOKUP. HLOOKUP is something which you'll use a lot while working, and it is a very easy and the most useful out of these 3 formulas. So it's very simple. So I'll give it my lookup value. Now I'll give it my lookup array, so I can do it from any direction, vertically, horizontally. So I'll just press an F4 here. So what XLOOKUP is going to do, it will find where Rohan is in my lookup array. Then I have to give a return array. So wherever Rohan is going to come, we'll start from the top, right? So first cell, then bottom, second, then third. So wherever Rohan comes, it will give us the value adjacent to it from the return array. So this gives me the data directly. Now you can also see that we also have Rohan here as well and here as well. So this is a problem with VLOOKUP or all the lookups, that you will always get the first value, which is the topmost value. So this works. Now you can also make it like this, that if we can fix, if we fix the your lookup array, and if we just do not fix your return array, we can directly copy paste this formula towards the right as well. I'm sorry, we'll have to fix the column. So we'll just do it like this. We'll fix it like this. So now what I did, just I fixed the rows. So I fixed the third row and the 12th row, so that when I copy it towards the right, it does not move downwards. Or if I copy it to, so for example, if I copy it here, so I don't want it to move it downwards, right? But if I copy it towards the right, I want it to move rightwards. So this is why we use that freeze panes kind of thing. So since this is, I guess, not quantity, it is already price, so we can bring this one here. So we have our quantity here, and similarly we can get our unit prices here. I hope it is very clear. Then we also have HLOOKUP. Now HLOOKUP is not that useful. You can do all of it using your XLOOKUP only, and you'll hardly ever use HLOOKUP. But what it does it, if this is your array, so what HLOOKUP does is it will pick values. So it will start to pick. So like my VLOOKUP was starting from the columns, right? This left one first, right one first, second, then this one third. HLOOKUP will start, if this is my array, it will start from the rows. So this row first, this row second, this row third, this row fourth. So if you are starting it from here, your lookup value must be, so if this is your array, your lookup value must be in this row. If let's say your array is from this 6th transaction, your lookup value must be this from this row. Then only it will work, because it will come from left to right, and this will be my first row, second, third. So it will start from here. So for example, let's say if I want to know about the product, so I'll just write it here, and if I just make an XLOOKUP formula, this is my lookup value, and I have to keep my table array. We can, I think, select it completely, and now since I have given this table array, so you can understand that we'll start from the top and not in columns, in rows. So my first row is going to be the product. So let's say if I want mouse, which is in the third row, ideally from the table array, if you'll see, it will be the fourth row. So if I just write 4 here and a 0 here, I will get a mouse. And if we have keyboard above it, if we want keyboard, so we can write 3 here, we'll get a keyboard, and for laptop we can write 2 here. So this is how HLOOKUP works. Nothing useful, we can leave it. These two are something which is very important for you. I'll hover you upon. I'll discuss again the XLOOKUP, because that is something which is very important for you to understand, and it is going to be very useful. So it is a very simple formula. Firstly, you need to define your lookup value. If you want to look up from the salespersons, you can look up it like this, or if you want to do it from transaction IDs, we can also do it. So now I want to look up values from the transaction IDs, right? So I will give an XLOOKUP. So this is going to be my lookup value, and then my lookup array is going to be this, right? If I select it completely and if I fix it, now what advantage it is going to give me is that if I add, so right now I have values till row 12 only. In the future, if I add values in row 13, 14 and more, far beyond, far below that, I'll not have to adjust my formula again and again, correct? Now for example, if I want to have regions here, correct? So I can just select it, or this is regions, and I'll not fix it, right? So for example, I want regions, then products, then salespersons. I'll not fix it, so that I get data every time I want. So this is my regions. I'll do this for you. So these are my regions. I'll just copy this XLOOKUP formula here, and then since we did not fixed the return array, if we copy paste it, we'll get the desired results, right? So just why I discuss this freezing between the formulas is that whenever you work on Excel, work on any kind of model or any kind of analytical exercise, try building your formulas in such a manner that for a particular range where you have to write a formula, you need to write formula only once, and the formula should be written in such a manner that it can be dragged upon all the cells now. So for example, if I want this data as well, so now I don't need to edit my formula since I have written it in such a way. I'll get the data, I'll get the results, right? So these are your lookup functions. In the next video, we'll talk about index match function and sumifs, since these two are used a lot in the industry, in the professional workspaces. And yeah, thank you for watching, and if you have any feedback, you can let me know in the comments. Thank you so much.